You know, as a compounding pharmacist, I do consults, and I got into this because I really saw not just my own kids, but my own patients that were missing the food part. They were missing that nutrition part, and as I corrected nutrition in them, I'm like, oh my, this changed their whole life. We were taught in pharmacy school, just give a drug, give a drug, give a drug. Drugs are just Band-Aids. They don't cure us. If you don't have good nutrition, that foundation that we're building our body on isn't there. And so that leads to all sorts of things, depression, leaky gut, gum disease, people that are constantly having headaches. They're not growing properly. Our kids don't grow properly because of nutrition. So it starts with good foundation. If you have a good foundation with nutrition, eat it, what you grow, or buy it locally, you're going to be way healthier.
So crazy how your diet can affect pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to put into a sentence how cool and interesting I thought this whole experience was. I've always been a firm believer in what you put in your body matters and the food you put in your body matters. And we are allowing food industries to spray it with pesticides, to transport it super far, change its enzymes and nutritional benefits so that when we're receiving the food, it's not even giving us the fuel that we need to survive in a healthy way.
The body is an incredible piece of equipment, machinery. You put good stuff in, it gives good stuff out. If you put bad stuff in,
When Daniel was 13, around 1994, he had recognized the potential of creating websites for the fledgling internet, so he started a small home business making websites for clients. He charged his first client $100, but then charged the next client $200. The price was still below the industry average, so as demand for internet websites began to explode, soon Daniel could charge $5,000 per website. To help expand the business, Daniel recruited students from his computing class. He successfully bribed them with the promise of video games. His earnings would eventually reach $50,000 per month, and by age 18, he was managing a team of 25. His parents only noticed his earnings when he started bringing home those large TVs. As time progressed, the internet began to see the growth of downloading music illegally.
Since then, the world has changed for the Goliaths of the record industry. Sony, Universal, and others. The record companies say they will lose billions in sales because fans are getting their music for free, and they want banning stopped.
Observing the trend, Daniel realized something. Later in an interview, he states his realization. Quote, "You can never legislate away piracy. Laws can definitely help, but it doesn't take away the problem. The only way to solve the problem was to create a service that's better than piracy and at the same time compensates the music industry." This idea was the basis for Spotify.
Instead of real eye damage, you might experience some eye discomfort, like blurry vision, dry eyes, watery eyes, and tired eyes. These symptoms even have a name. It's called computer vision syndrome. I know my eyes feel heavy after a long day of staring, but a doctor isn't going to worry about my long-term health, so don't be scared by that really intense name. Still, my eyes are irritated and it's annoying. We likely experience computer vision syndrome because we blink less when we stare at a screen, according to optometrist Allison Bozung from the University of Iowa.
So our blink rate slows pretty significantly in some studies, up to about 2/3, so about 67%. Slower or less blinking.
And it's not easy to consciously blink more. I'm very aware of that. You'll probably look a little bit crazy if you try, so instead, use eye drops to keep your eyeballs moist. Make sure they are for that purpose and not for redness relief. Take breaks too. Most doctors recommend the 20-20-20 rule.
20-20-20 rule. 20-20-20 rule.
Which says that for every 20 minutes that you're on a computer or staring at a screen, take 20 seconds to stare at something 20 feet away.
It requires more energy to focus at a near target than it does to focus at a distance target.
All organisms on Earth are made from the same basic parts, mostly proteins. Proteins are the building blocks of life and can have billions of different shapes. You can imagine them as 3D puzzle pieces. There are billions of different puzzle pieces your enemies can use to construct their bodies. Why is this important? Because proteins are, in a way, the language of the micro-world. Cells don't have eyes or ears, so to tell friend from foe, they have to touch them and recognize if their protein is part of a friend or part of an enemy. Recognizing means that cells have countless tiny devices called receptors that are able to connect with a specific protein puzzle piece. So your cells have tiny puzzle pieces on their outsides that are able to click together or recognize other protein puzzle pieces. When a cell connects together with a protein and recognizes it as enemy, it knows that it has to attack. Only if your cells can make this distinction between friend or foe is your immune system able to fight an invader. But since there are billions of possible protein puzzle pieces, this means there are billions of possible enemy puzzle pieces. This is also one of the reasons we still have to deal with diseases like the flu each year. The influenza virus mutates very rapidly, and so the proteins that make up its hull constantly change.
But actually, it turns out there's a twist here, because givers are often sacrificing themselves, but they make their organizations better. We have a huge body of evidence, many studies, looking at the frequency of giving behavior that exists in a team or an organization. And the more often people are helping and sharing their knowledge and providing mentoring, the better organizations do on every metric we can measure. Higher profits, customer satisfaction, employee retention, even lower operating expenses. So givers spend a lot of time trying to help other people and improve the team, and then unfortunately they suffer along the way. And I want to talk about what it takes to build cultures where givers actually get to succeed. So I wondered then, if givers are the worst performers, who are the best performers? And let me start with the good news. It's not the takers. Takers tend to rise quickly, but also fall quickly in most jobs. And they fall at the hands of matchers. If you're a matcher, you believe in an eye for an eye, a just world. And so when you meet a taker, you feel like it's your mission in life to just punish the hell out of that person. And that way justice gets served. Well, most people are matchers, and that means if you're a taker, it tends to catch up with you eventually. What goes around will come around. And so